What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bettin N Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Roscoe, and what a fun day we have kicked off for you guys right here on the network as this is episode 116 of Bettin N Boozin. We're covering the Pegasus World Cup Undercard Stakes, as well as giving our quick picks for the Pegasus World Cup races. And after this show, you guys will see as I continue to go through the intro at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Central. Picks and Ponies will be going right after us, talking about the Pegasus World Cup Stakes and the all graded stakes late pick 4. Not one you guys are going to want to miss, especially when special guest, in my opinion, the best track announcer in the U.S., Pete Aiello, is going to be on board as well. So thank you guys all for joining in. Greatly appreciated on what's an action-packed night here on the HHH Racing Podcast YouTube channel. As you can see scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now, please go down below the video player, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it because not only is it the best way to help out our channel, it is completely free and shows us that you guys are enjoying the content. So please, if you guys enjoy this video, whether you're watching live or watching as a replay, please go down there, hit the like button, and hit the subscribe button so you guys don't miss any new podcasts right here on YouTube for the HHH Racing Podcast Network. You can also see scrolling at the bottom of the screen our normal podcast schedule. As I mentioned, we have a little bit of a change due to the Eclipse Awards tomorrow night. Like I said, Picks and Ponies going right after us at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, although they're usually Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as Monday. We have our Horsin Around recap show on some Mondays, and Pacific Horseplayers at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. If you guys missed that show last night, Ryan and Jackson covered the late pick 5 at Oaklawn Park and their fantastic Southwest Stakes Day. So if you're looking to play more than just the Pegasus World Cup on Saturday, tune into that show as the boys got you covered over there. Of course, every single podcast posted to the HHH Racing Podcast YouTube channel is also available in audio forms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor for those. So please go rate, review, and subscribe over there if you're more of an audio listener. Of course, TikTok and Instagram at Bettin N Boozin Podcast. TikTok is back. It was taken away for approximately 30 seconds for those Gen Zers out there that had a heart attack, but unfortunately for the rest of us, it is back, and we are still on there. This week's going to go pretty crazy. I'm going to post a bunch of stuff for the Pegasus World Cup days, so please go follow us over there at Bettin N Boozin Podcast. Of course, Power Picks, guys. If you want the Pegasus World Cup stuff, get in early. You want to get in before Thursday night. Like I said, the later guys, you will not get, if you get subscribe on Friday or Saturday, you will not get Pegasus World Cup stuff. So please, if you guys are interested, subscribe on Patreon. It comes out to $4.99 a month, $4.99 a weekend. Excuse me, $4.99 a weekend, $21.60 a month is how Patreon bills it. $2.15 ROI all time since dating back to February of 2021, and 762 total spot plays and price plays given out, as well as, guys, to start off before last weekend, to start off the new year, we had a $4.59 ROI to start off 2025. You guys want to ride the hot hand into Pegasus World Cup Day, go to patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. The link is also in the description there. And if you want to see previous editions of those Power Picks before you buy them, or want to learn more about the podcast in general, please go to HHHRacingPodcast.com. Guys, we won't keep anyone waiting. We have a lot to cover today, and some very in-depth races and wide open races as well. So we'll get right into it. Also, we have a full house tonight as we welcome back the man that ditched us, of course, Noah Maher, but we'll bring people back in. Patrick Kunsel from the East Coast, New Jersey. New national champions, although we all say asterisk. It's not asterisk, but we all like to joke with him about it. Charlie Freeman and Noah Maher, as I mentioned before. Boys, what's going on tonight? Hopefully you guys are doing well. I know one of you is, at least.
Yeah, so I can't be doing much better. I get to talk about the best track and one of their, if not their biggest days of the year, after seeing the biggest day of the year for my football team, and I'm graduating a national champion. So I'd say I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, that is fair, actually. Yeah, you do graduate this summer, and then you can join us on all the adult adventures that we take once you get out of school. Noah, Patrick, what's going on, my guys? How you doing?
I'm battling the flu here, so don't mind me if I'm coughing up a little bit.
I'm the man.
Going through, we got to give him a little bit of a reprieve tonight, but I know one guy that's going to talk a lot for him. Charlie, I'll give you your winner's circle here. We talked about it last weekend, and actually 2 co-hosts on the show were matched up in the national champion. Of course, Patrick being a fan of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Fortunately, just a little bit too late, and when you go down 21-0 early, it doesn't exactly bode well for the rest of the game. But Charlie, I promised you if you got it, I'll give you your winner's circle here. Feel free to take a couple minutes and talk about your experience as you did end up going to that game.
Yeah, no, I kind of want to pull a Ryan Day here with Lou Holtz and say I want to know where Paul Halloran is right now, because if you remember, when I was on the show way back as a guest, we were talking about the OSU Tennessee game, previewing it, and I'd love to at some point, maybe on a different episode, pull up that clip sometime when I could have prepared you better for it. But yeah, I made it very clear. He was saying Tennessee was going to take it. A lot of people were doubting OSU, and rightfully so. And I said, we're one of the big teams. We belong there. We're going to beat the shit out of every team in front of us. And that normally I'm pessimistic and humble, but I'm sick of the disrespect. And that's exactly what we did. We beat a bad Tennessee team. I was right about the SEC being overrated. Then we beat the best team in the country on the road and killed them. Texas in their stadium. And then I'm not going to talk bad about Notre Dame because I also picked the perfect bracket by putting them there. So a lot of respect to them. Not going to talk any shit to Pat because that's a hell of a team. And I can tell you from my experiences, I definitely had some cocky, drunk OSU fans around me saying that game was over when it was, 31-15 or whatever. And I kept telling them to calm down and wait. And sure enough, they fought back. Notre Dame's got a great team. But, yeah, and then I'll end with just showing off a few cool souvenirs to end it on a not braggy note. So got this and had to bring it back. Probably the first time I've ever kept a cup in my life, but thought that was cool. And then was not able to snag any confetti at the Rose Bowl, but I did get this from the celebrations after we won it all, and getting to see them raise the trophy was pretty special. So yeah, I'll be humble, but I won't lie. It's been 22 years now. It's the first time I've seen a team of mine win a national championship or any sort of finals, and it was pretty special.
Not to mention, where'd you sit?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was also third row on seats I probably could have sold for $10,000 right in the end zone by the OSU sideline and band, which was insane. Absolutely insane. My voice was gone a few minutes into the game.
Yeah, student section, man. It's what it does. Well, and again, when your team goes up early like that, yeah, your voice will probably be gone in the first 5 minutes. Pat, obviously, real quick, just really, like I said, you get yourself in a hole like that early. It's really hard to dig yourself out of, although they did try.
Yeah, they fought. A typical Notre Dame team this year. Found their way to fight back in. But that second quarter was awful offensively. Those 2 drives that Notre Dame had in the second quarter put the game away. But all the credit to Charlie and Ryan Day and Ohio State. I mean, they defied the odds and all the people that talked crap about him. And let's be honest. I mean, Ryan Day got some what we hear death threats from people. He put that to the side and went to work. And good for him. So.
Yeah,
good for Ohio State.
Like you said, I won't comment on it. You know my affiliation, my rules. But look, they played really well. I'm not, congrats to them, but my rules. We ain't talking about that around here. And that guy is still a douchebag
this year.
I did. I had my glory year, and then I'm back to probably the MLB team that's gonna top their record for the worst MLB season in history. So we'll keep it going from there. But guys, let's go to the comments real quick. Then we'll get right into it. Katie, of course, is here. Katie says she thinks there's going to be an upset in the Pegasus World Cup. Obviously, if you guys want those, we will give our picks later. But if you want full in-depth analysis, watch the show after this. Matt Miller, of course, is here. Be live for a bit. Hit the pause for dinner. We'll catch up after that. Matt, thanks so much for joining the show. Greatly appreciate it. Easy money. My favorite call from PWC, although he hasn't been doing it lately, and I'm not sure why. There was a horse that won by 15, was 3-5, and I was really expecting for it to come out and never did. But Chris, thanks so much for joining the show. Greatly appreciate it. Coming in hot from North Dakota, Paul Conlon, thanks so much for joining the show. Mark Bogas is here. Full house tonight. Let's get after it, my friend. Absolutely. And everyone else. Robbie Courtney, good evening to you, my friend. And end with the boss saying, Charlie calling out Paul. I feel a rant coming for our show. Yeah, you'll put those two in one room. You'll see what kind of rant you can get. And yeah, Noah, of course, you're the one that ruined it for the rest of us.
100%.
You inspired Ryan Day at Saratoga. Yeah, my view does not. That guy's still a douchebag, but it's fine. Well, we move with it.
Hey, hold on. That's a guy we're going to try to get on as a guest one day. Hold on.
Oh, well.
You think he injured somebody when he threw his headset into the crowd?
That actually was one thing I was wondering because I was so busy turning around celebrating that I didn't see it until I got back all the replays of like
Yeah.
he just fully
Oh, he
chucked that.
threw that.
Goes into the crowd.
Like I
Somebody
thought he
had to
just
get
threw it
drilled.
up like Lane Kiffin threw his clipboard when they had that touch. I didn't realize he threw it like horizontally, like towards the
Dude, straight into the crowd.
Someone definitely just got drilled in that, but thank God it was the OSU sideline because they were probably too busy celebrating.
Yeah, it's probably true. It probably hit someone in the back and they just what the hell was
he got
that?
some serious airtime on that thing when I rewatched it. I was like, that was a lot of anguish and anger released just launching that headset.
He yucked it up there. That's for sure. Guys, let's move into it here. And of course, we had to bring out the best booze for one of our bigger shows of the week. We got the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale back at least to 9.5%. So Noah might have to take over hosting duties by the end of this.
9.5?
9.5. Yeah, it's beer aged in bourbon barrels, man. Come on, you got.
Let's hope we make it to the Pegasus.
Well, we'll see if we do that. Cheers to everybody out there. If you are partaking in the second part of this show, which of course is the Boozin. Guys, let's move on to race number 5, which starts the middle pick 5, which is what we're covering, and it starts off with everybody's favorite race. It is a 5-furlong flat turf sprint for 165,000. I'll bring up the Equibase right now. And guys, we do have morning lines, even though we are covering this show on a Wednesday. People that are familiar with it know we struggle with that all the time. 12 horses, 3 also eligibles, full house as always. Morning line favorite is number 9, the horse with no balls for E.T. Baird, Arlington legend E.T. Baird, and Larry Ravelli at 7-2, also Arlington legend. Coppola all the way to the outside for Gaffleone and Romans at 4-1 is your second choice. And third choice is the West Coast Invader, probably not for West Coast bias. I'm going to take a wild guess for Mucho Del Oro with Frisu and Doug O'Neill at 9-2. Guys, you see our picks on the bottom side of the screen right now. 2 of them, oh no, we're going back to the well, boys. We so are. 2 people are going with the number 6, None Hudson for Junior Alvarado and Wesley Ward at 10-1. Charlie, you were going with the number 12, Coppola for Gaffleone and Romans. I am going with the morning line favorite, although you guys all know my opinion on turf sprints. So I'll let Charlie talk first, just because he has it by himself, and then I will let the boys go into what was viewed as my bucket every single time this horse ran in the summer. I tried to get on the train, and the train never finished home. But Charlie, Coppola, look, it's going to be up front. The 12 post could be a concern. However, this horse is in raging form right now, especially coming off that last race here at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, I really wanted to put. I was talking to Noah about this last night. I really wanted to put None Hudson on top, but I can't do it to myself again. I'll use the horse, but I won't do it. So yeah, Coppola, got to watch this horse in person, and no, it was a really impressive effort. I understand that they're showing the blue figures because it is Gulfstream Speedway, but still, to me, 21-1 and 43-1 is not walking by any means. Obviously, certainly for that level, could be faster. Had to navigate. Most importantly to me, though, was not the pace, but number one, if you watch that replay, and I encourage the viewers to, Coppola shot out of a cannon and had to navigate the 11 holes. So this horse has been able to navigate the outside before. And as you talked about, for me, the other big thing is you draw a line through the Kentucky Downs at 6 furlongs, which plays even longer. And why on earth this horse was in that race is beyond me. You draw a line through that, though, and the form is consistent and as good as anyone in this field. And that's what I was ultimately looking for. Is this is a horse I've been trying to beat and I've always used defensively, but I just feel like in these wide open races, you want consistency. Tyler G's back aboard, horses obviously hasn't had a work, which could be a little concerning, but also hadn't worked before that last effort that worked out just fine. And, looks like the horse to be just on form right now.
I mean, he hasn't worked since August, which is interesting. But obviously, Dale Romans has had this horse in good form, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. And Chris Couples agrees with you, Charlie. Beats him every time, so might be able to clear. But yeah, that 12 post, I have him in second. Think he's good. Can get up towards the lead. It looks to be a fast pace, as every flat 5 is. Although you do want to be a little bit closer to the front in general, especially at the Gulfstream Park configuration. So let's see. We'll see if he can clear from that, or at least get close from that outside gate, because it's definitely going to be tough from out there. Gentlemen, it is your turn, because I thought I had it won here, Noah, when he ran at Del Mar. He broke to the lead, and then all of a sudden I had 2 horses flying to the outside, including Motorius and a horse in this race, Johnny Padres. But Look, he's done nothing wrong, really. He's run some really good races. Just a lot of times it's not been good enough on the front end. But obviously, you believe that he's going to break that here.
Yeah, and to your point, Kyle, they turned for home the green flash. I thought you had it in the bag, man. And those two were just flying, and didn't work out. But still a very respectable effort. Came back in the Woodford and just had a terrible trip.
Yeah,
tons of traffic, had a bunch of trouble, and then came back in that allowance race at the end of the Keeneland meet, and got a very questionable ride from Frankie Dettori. Was very overconfident, I thought.
He was confident. Yeah,
it's a pretty nice horse that got beat by that day. So I think he's right there with a lot of others. I will say, Pat, I don't know what you thought. I would like him a lot more. I think we discussed this maybe a little bit before the show. I'd like him a lot more if him and No Balls were switched, because I think they're going to be very close to each other, like in that second flight. And I think No Nay Hudson's a horse that kind of prefers to be out in the clear and kind of come with one run. So it seems like Junior's going to have to work out a trip, but love the 10-1 if we get that.
Yeah, and the only other thing that I'll add is, does get to draw where the 5, that's right, should show speed. So hopefully won't have to deal with too much trouble getting out of the gate if that is true with the 5, that's right. But obviously, Junior will have to work a trip, as Noah said in here.
And the thing that I've always liked about Nene Hudson is he's not really a deep closer. Like, he actually runs well at this 5. Last time, granted, it wasn't a 62 optional, but he ran very well here at Gulfstream before. You can even go farther back. It's down the PPs, but didn't run that bad at Gulfstream either. At the distance last time, he ran a flat 5. So I don't concern myself with the distance too much. Honestly, I'd upgrade him. Because the one misconception we've talked about a lot on this show, guys, is it happens a lot more when we talk about it for like a mile versus a mile and an eighth. Closers, generally people look at it and are like, oh, this horse has more ground. He's going to close faster when he just doesn't get there at a mile. But it's not necessarily always the case. Horses just like to run the distance they like to run. And if Nene Hudson can close fast at 5, from mid-pack, there's no reason why this horse can't win. I'm thinking Wesley Ward, they're always getting bet. I'm assuming it's going to be 7-8 to 1 on this horse, because he is a hard horse to trust, although he definitely will take some money at the windows. No Balls, guys, like I said, this is a pretty soft pick for me, and I'm actually a little bit upset at myself, really, for picking this horse. But this horse, even if he's really not as good as he used to be, that last time in the Kennedy Road, where I tried to beat him with one of the best horse names out there right now in Patches O'Houlihan, he was just too good, really. And I think he's going to be close. I don't think he needs the lead at all, and I think that was obviously very well shown at his Breeders' Cup win in the Turf Sprint in 23. He does not need the lead at all. I think he's going to sit right off the speed where there's going to be a lot of it, especially with the 12 trying to clear from the outside. To me, that almost ensures that there's going to be a fast pace in this race. And if he can sit, somewhere just off the front end and, tip out at the top of the stretch and get a jump on a horse like Nene Hudson, I almost just feel like he might just completely trip out. Maybe he's not the best horse anymore, but for me, even 7-2 is not that bad of a price. Again, I will not be playing this race vertically with, 30-foot pole. I mean, however long it can go, realistically speaking, but I just think No Balls can get a really nice trip in this race, and I feel like it'd be a little bit silly to completely overlook him in this spot. Obviously, Patrick and Noah believe that to be true. Charlie does not have this horse in there, however. Charlie, when looking at this race, was it something else for you, trip-wise, or is it maybe he's just not as good as he used to be?
I just think, I know it's not any sort of major layoff, but, still need to see this horse come back. Still also need to see the horse at 5. And I think that is part of my question. It's a horse who's getting older. We haven't seen in a little bit. And I know No Balls has been known, for speed. And I do agree with you that there could be the angle where obviously he doesn't need the lead by any means. But one of my questions is naturally, now that especially, ran at Kentucky Downs at 6, ran at Woodbine at 6, kind of seems like when older horses are stretching out, it's more so because the trainer believes they don't have that same speed they used to have. and they could be, use what they do have at a longer distance. And my other concern is I just think this horse is going to be a short price no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly think No Balls and Coppola will be vying for favoritism, but I can't imagine this horse is more than 4-1. Horizontally, we'll absolutely be using No Balls if I play this race, because I agree with you. Nobody knows. But for me, it's just ultimately I would rather throw another price in for my second and third spots and try to, take a chance than just go chalk in a race where I think we'd all agree this is probably the least safe race for a favorite to win.
Yeah, I mean, it always is, these turf sprints. I mean, there's so many trip variables and everything else, speed variables. Obviously, I argue they're probably the most volatile race that's run here in the States. So 5 furlongs on the turf, that's, around tight turns. He wants to be forward a little bit to the outside, and ET's on, so you know where he's going. It's just a matter of, again, I don't think he needs the lead, and I think if ET pilots him to just behind the speed, I think there's a very good chance that he probably wins this race. However, again, don't like the price. Probably definitely won't be playing him vertically. Charlie, I'm going to let you finish off, and then we'll go quickly to you guys. I'm glad you have this horse in here, because this is the one horse that I had in there before, and I kind of just tossed a little because of the post. But 5 for 5 at Gulfstream Park, Miguel Vasquez, who's back aboard after 5 of the last 6 times being aboard and never being out of the money. This horse is going to be that 12-1 number, and I don't think there's any reason why he can't cluck up for a third or a fourth to round out your exotics.
No, absolutely. And unfortunately for me, when I was at this race, I had played the horse to talk. I played the horse to show, and I'd also played some reverse tri-keys. Unfortunately, since I was trying to keep a narrow budget because I don't trust turf sprints at all, I did not have Coppola on top in any of them. But yeah, this is a horse I'll always believe in and I'll never give up on. I mean, 5 out of 5 in the money, always runs his race. It's still only 4 and is, relatively newer to this division where a lot of these others are faces you've seen, but has also run against some pretty nice horses that like to run in these Gulfstream sprints, and certainly has some numbers in the 90s here that would fit. There's always going to be enough of a pace setup. And last time, again, I don't think it was as slow as they're insinuating, but they still obviously didn't fly. And this horse had some difficulty at the beginning. Also being in the 4-hole, had horses in between that wanted to go, which kind of got refront or trapped at the beginning. Whereas what I like with this outside post is, immediately, Coppola is going to send, some of the horses towards the inside are going to send. So it's going to be very easy, in my opinion, for Reef Runner to back off and angle over to the inside and stay back. And I just think Reef Runner always comes with this run, was flying absolutely late last time and just missed and got up for third. And I think can do it again. And as a horse you have to look to use underneath.
I completely agree with you. Like I said, I'm very happy you have this horse in here, because that was the one horse I was debating putting in my top 3. Patrick, I'll give your flu symptoms a little bit of reprieve here. Although, yes, I am free. I'm assuming is pretty much a pace play for you in this one, just getting out front, now being back to Laura, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at there. I'm going to hopefully try and get this horse, in like a tri-key, getting to the lead and trying to take them all the way.
Yeah, and I don't see why that can't happen, especially I like his post much comparatively to, the 12 Coppola, something like that. Noah, last horse we'll talk about here is the number 5, and I want to get your opinion on the Doug O'Neill horse as well. So real quick, that's right, you have in third. Again, another one that should be pretty close up.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thought that Pat's got with the 2. I think the 5 might be the speed of the speed. Cox puts blinkers on this time, just because Coppola broke so well last time. This horse wasn't able to get the lead, and it's partially why I'm against Coppola this time, because I think the 2 and the 5 are going to be sending, and Coppola's not going to be able to get over as easy as he did last time. But with that being said, with the blinkers on, I think they're just going to go. He was well backed in that race. I believe he was a 4th choice in there. So the public liked him a little bit. And I thought he, for a horse that prefers to be on the lead and went to different style last time, I thought he ran pretty much just as well as Reef Runner did, maybe a little bit better, staying on in the lane. So if this horse gets somehow loose on the lead, I think could certainly hang around for a piece.
And no Florent Drew, W. So Mucho del Oro, last horse we'll talk about. Rob N in the chat says 3 is a complete toss. This horse is very fast out of the gate. Although you and I both, a lot better than anyone on this screen, Noah, but I always play the downhills as, that type of mile type distance. And he's really never run anything close to this flat 5. So I would argue that he's probably not even going to be that, he's going to be fast early, but not as fast as some of these flat 5 sprinters. Is that why you're kind of thinking you're not going to keep him in there?
Yeah, I don't know. He's 7 now. He prefers to go a little bit longer, like you said. O'Neill's actually never had a horse at Gulfstream over the last 5 years, and I believe he's got this one. He's got Mixto, so maybe a little barn buddy for Mixto. And the last thing I'll say, Doug O'Neill's actually 0 for 24 plus 180 days in stakes races over the last 5 years. So just seems like a strange ship, and at 9-2, especially at 9-2. I'm gonna be nowhere near that.
I don't think he's gonna be 9-2, but I mean, if he's anywhere near that, that is a no from me. Rob Ben also says over the past 2 years, Doug O'Neill is 0 for 11 when starting a horse in a dirt stakes race and then running it at a turf stakes condition. 2 seconds, no thirds. So only 2 for 11 in the money as well. Rob, thanks so much for those stats. Greatly appreciate it. But we got to move on, guys, at some point, even though that race we could talk about for however long we want to. I'm going 9-12-6. Charlie's going 12-6-11. Pat's going 6-9-2. Noah's going 6-9-5. Guys, let's move on to race number 6, which is, say it with me, everybody's favorite time of the day. It is your Tapeta Stakes race, of course, that we have to talk about. It's a $100,000 handicap, guys, for going 1.70 miles on the Tapeta. You know these Tapeta races draw full fields of 12, but how about a 5-1 morning line favorite? How about Jerry the Nipper, of all horses as well, getting the nod for morning line favoritism? Irad Ortiz, Todd Pletcher at 5-1. Second choice, the number 8 Portfolio Company, Tyler Gaffaleone, Chad Brown at 6-1. And you got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horses at 8-1, all drawn within 2 to 6. Emmanuel, Stanley House, Smoke and Tea, Classic Motown, and Exact Estimate, all in their respective slots in 2 through 6, all at 8-1. Guys, moving on to our picks here for race 6. This is a race, also a race we could talk about forever. So keep it a little bit short and sweet here. I'm going with the number 10, Evade, the French bred, at 10-1 for Oisin Murphy and Mike Maker. Charlie's going the number 11, Jerry the Nipper. I figured he would be going that way. Patrick's going the number 8, Portfolio Company, and Noah's going the number 4, Smoke and Tea. As again, we are all over the board in this race, guys. Charlie, you do have the morning line favorite, so I will let you go first. But again, guys, there's so many different ways you can go in this race. It's very evident by our picks. And I forgot to show the time form last time, so I apologize. I'll start off with this time, Charlie.
Yeah, so for me in this race, I'm not going to make the same mistake with Jerry the Nipper I made last time. This is a horse I've picked every single time pretty much that he's run. But I was like, you know what? He's 8. He's getting older. They're trying to just throw him into a Tapeta race off the layoff. I don't know if he's worth the risk. Let me go with the horse that was also off a layoff, but younger, that's actually in this race, an Exact Estimate. And that's certainly, I had the horse defensively, but didn't feel so great to watch a horse that I've used repeatedly beat me. So I'm not making that same mistake. What I really like is I know the age should be a concern, but the reason it's not for me was honestly just hearing what Irad had to say after. He just seemed so confident and trusting in Jerry the Nipper, always felt like he had the horse, and honestly set some pretty reasonably fast fractions for that Tapeta in that distance and finished with a strong time. And the other thing I like that you showed the time form for is that I don't think Jerry the Nipper needs the lead by any means. I mean, if you look at a lot of his career, he really hasn't, and he does a really good job of sort of making his own trips for himself and finding a way to sit within, a couple lengths of the lead so he never has too much work to do. And I just think Irad's going to put this one in a great spot, and I know this race is wide open, but I'm just going to go with a horse who at least has run recently, has run the surface and shown the ability to handle it. And I'm not just going to go away from a horse who I've backed forever when I now have proof that the horse can handle the surface.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that last race I also used defensively there, Charlie. I mean, it's tough is what it is, because I really wanted to beat Bapio, so I used a couple, including Jerry the Nipper, but I was with you on Exact Estimate. I really thought that he could just sit off of Jerry the Nipper, who's 8 now, and just go by at the top of the stretch. Definitely did not work out like that. So if he can get loose again, although there is other horses that want the lead, I understand, though, what you're saying is he might not need the lead, but for an 8-year-old, it's always a tough ask, especially if he's going to be favorited. Now, from owner of Gay Smith to the ownership of Mrs. Gay Smith. So, Noah, you're going with the number 4, Smoke and Tea. Really interesting trainer switch now for the 6-year-old, going from Shug down to Chad Brown, gets Frankie aboard.
Yeah, I've never really thought of Smoke and Tea as kind of the winning type, but I was kind of surprised when I saw that he was 6 for 24 lifetime. And some of his wins are pretty good.
Yeah.
Go back to the Appleton, was very good last spring here, actually at Gulfstream. I know that was on the turf, but has really been running into some good company. Was part of a hot pace last time against Major Dude, who came back and won. And we'll see later on in the day on Saturday in the Pegasus turf. He actually does have a first and a third in 2 starts over the Gulfstream synthetic. And you got to go way back to find them. But one of them was an optional race. And the other one was in this race actually 2 years ago, January of 23. Trainer switched to Sugar McGahee, like you said. Dettori picks up the mount, which I love. There's really not much speed to the inside of Smoking Tea, so I think Dettori will just kind of be able to solidify that rail and just kind of see how things play out from there. Last thing I'll say is Chad Brown's 35% first off of a trainer switch and putting right into a stakes race over the last 5 years. So I'm with Paul Conlon. I think if he's going to get it done, it's going to be on Saturday.
He's due, is what he is. That's according to Paul Conlon. He's due. This is a horse, that's kind of been one of those that I never expected, on the win end. I think he was really good during his 5-year-old year at kind of in that middle ground between his 4 and 5-year-old year. Maybe not as good now, although that 92 last time could indicate that he's back to that type of form, and the switch to Chad Brown, I think, is really interesting at what's going to be a pretty nice price. So obviously good luck there, Noah. Patrick, you're going with the other Chad Brown in this race. You're going Portfolio Company, a horse that hasn't been seen since last March. Obviously, Chad Brown's no stranger to this type of move, but what did you see in Portfolio Company?
Yeah, listen, I look back at Portfolio.
Oh, sorry. Also by Mrs. Gay Smith. My apologies. Meant to add.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go to me first, Kyle, when you said that, because I forgot Smoking Tea was owned by Mrs. Gay Smith too. But listen, Portfolio Company comes out of obviously the Barbados Gold Cup, ran pretty well, but that's almost a year ago. And then at Gulfstream on the Topeta, didn't pick up much ground in that race at 13-1 that day. Just didn't really like anything in that race. But what I will say is this horse has been working consistently at pace, and Chad is very good at doing this here. And I think with the fast pace, this horse should sit a nice stalking trip. Hopefully, sitting 3 or 4 off, not too far off, as on the Topeta, you kind of need to be a little bit more forward due to the way it's been running. But I'm going to take a chance in here, and I have a feeling if this horse is supposed to run big, this horse might go off as the favorite, considering how wide open this field is.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. Although Chad Brown is not the greatest with the stakes off the layoff, although it's Chad Brown off the layoff. You can't really have too many concerns on this one. If I zoom out a little bit here, guys, you can go just graded stakes and then go 180 days. Again, not a sponsor, but their formula is fantastic. 11 for 81 the last 5 years, only 14% for Chad Brown. But again, it's still 14%. You cut that off of over 180 days, you're looking at 27%. So again, not a stranger to this. Might not be that good in graded stakes, however, but 27% off of a 6-month or more layoff. Chad Brown's going to have him ready. It's just a matter of, honestly, is he as good as he was during his 5-year-old year, coming back now as 6? I'm going a little bit off the wall here, guys. I'm going Evade. Oisin Murphy actually takes the mount, which I thought was really interesting. Gets late 6 for the first time, not my biggest angle. However, this is the 4-year-old that is really a new face in this race. Those last 3 have been pretty good runs that he's ran into. From the Frankel Simpson was 4th behind Howard Wallowitz, who's a very nice horse. One of my favorite horses in training in the Bryant Station was 2 lengths behind Brilliant Birdie. And one of Charlie's favorite horses in training was only 3/4 of a length behind Laganus, who came back to win next time out as well. Hasn't been seen since November. However, I think Mike Maker has been really trained well up to this spot. He's actually been training down at Fairgrounds, however, training very, very well in the top half of every single work the last 4 times. So definitely think Evade is ready. 10-1 is a very juicy morning line price for especially with getting Oisin Murphy as the mount, who's no stranger to winning these types of races at Gulfstream Park. Again, just a matter of can he slot in from the 10 hole and can he take the synthetic? But obviously running over in England, now coming here, has always been better on that type of firmer surface. So I think he should take to it and hopefully run well. looking at that price, I wouldn't go anything less than 8-1 probably on this horse. I don't think he'll go that low, but I wouldn't take anything less than that. But I am very interested in the number 10, Evade. Again, this is just a very, very tough race. We'll go very quickly. Noah, I want to talk about a couple here. And actually, Charlie, you can bounce ideas off each other. You guys both have the same horses underneath between the number 2, Emmanuel, and the number 7, Possibilmente. I mean, this is Emmanuel's the horse. This is the horse that I never have any idea what to do with. It's like, this is the horse I always let beat me. And granted, he hasn't won in a little bit, but when early in his career, he always won by very little, could never get behind him. But obviously 8-1 and has been pretty well backed, facing some pretty good horses. Maybe this is just the time for him to get in the money.
Charlie, what do you like about this one?
Yeah, well, I talked to you about this one too. The jokes I always like to make about Emmanuel is I always say it's like the horse where the lights are shining. The lights were too bright for Emmanuel a lot of the time because they throw this horse into grade 2s and grade 1s that, the horse likely doesn't belong in and then doesn't run very well. But then as soon as the connections go back to running, Emmanuel in grade 3s or any of those lower level stakes, the horse seemingly wakes up and then wins or just narrowly loses. And that's what I think they've done here. Obviously, the big question is going to be, does the horse take to the synthetic? But, look, as 3 bullet works, honestly, you could say, well, I guess one of them was before the last effort. But since that last effort has had 3 bullet works, so clearly is working very well. I think the blinkers off also is a smarter move because I think there are plenty of other horses that are going to want to go. And I think Emmanuel could sit a nice trip. Again, the wild card question for a lot of these is going to be like how I had my concerns with Jerry the Nipper last time is will this horse take to the Tapeta? But I would definitely use this one horizontally. And I'd be shocked if you get 8-1. But I mean, I'm assuming, Noah, you had some similar thoughts, and I'll let you carry that into the 7 and I'll build off you.
Well, the blinkers off, I think, was the biggest thing for me because Maker tried at 3 back. And then especially in his last 2, he's just been super keen. He was pulling last time like 3 or 4 wide going into the first turn and just kind of tired him out. But I mean, look at who he's facing. I mean, this has got to be the strongest resume out of pretty much anybody in this race, wouldn't you think? The Fort Lauderdale was a very good race. Major dude, Fort Washington went for the money. So I know this kind of looks like maybe, throw something against the wall just to see if Emmanuel is a horse that takes to the synthetic. But he's super classy. And I think if they kind of switch tactics with him and kind of come with one run rather than, he's just been so amped up early on in those races, I think you're going to get a better result out of him.
Yeah. And obviously possibly Mente, you're looking at a horse you're looking for a horse that's been tried on the synthetic surface, has run really well. I mean, this is definitely that type of hometown horse that you're looking for. Yeah.
And I thought the race that he ran last time against Jerry the Nipper was big. And partially why I'm kind of against Jerry the Nipper because that day the synthetic was so speed favoring. There were 2 races earlier on in that day on December 28th, and both of the winners came from either first or second. So very speed favoring synthetic that day. Possiblemente was wide on both turns, came with a nice run, but Jerry the Nipper just completely got away with murder. But like you said, Kyle, this is a horse that is very trusty on the synthetic, where you got a lot of horses that are kind of trying it for the first time, not a lot of strong, consistent form. And I think it's certainly one that you should get a decent price on.
Yeah, and talking about a fun fact, that's why I actually liked Exact Estimate over the Jerry the Nipper last time, because I thought he was just a little bit better at this point in his career and was going to go by because no one else had won from, anywhere else that day except on the lead. And Jared the Nipper just kind of took him around the track. So last horse I want to talk about here is with David Barista. Said no love for the 3 Stanley House. Stanley House is just one of those horses that he's been running well on the Tapeta out at Woodbine. It's just a matter of we kind of know what he is now. I do like that he's a little bit of kind of like a new fresh face in this race. This is the PPs for Stanley House. However, I don't know if an 89, 88 is going to be good enough to win a race like this. I mean, even Jerry the Nipper last time out, I mean, he got a 93 last time out being on the lead. And Stanley House had a lot of, pretty good trips to get it done, just hasn't got it done and needs to improve in this race. I'm not sure how he could do it, but again, these Tapeta races are easily the races to do it, to look for these types of prices in here. So after we took 15 minutes per race for those first 2, we'll try and quicken it up a little bit as we do get a little bit narrower towards the middle part of the card on Saturday, but the ending legs of our late pick 5. I'm going 10-6-8. Charlie's going 11-2-7. Pat's going 8-4-10. Noah's going 4-2-11. 7, and everybody's favorite race of the day, the Tapeta Handicap. Guys, let's move on to race number 7 here, and it is the Prevoyante Stakes presented by Stella Artois. Should be beautiful for Bettin N Boozin in this one. Again, full field of 12, guys. This is why Pegasus World Cup Day is absolutely fantastic, and it's going 1.5 miles for fillies and mares 4-year-old and up. And as I show the Equibase right now, the morning line favorite is the invading number 5. Well, not invading anymore, I guess I should say. Beautiful Love, William Buick, and Charlie Appleby at 5-2. Chop Chop at 7-2 for Irad Ortiz and newly trained Todd Pletcher in this one. And La Mejana, the Florida-based winner last time out, at 9-2 for Dylan Davis, which, again, we mentioned it last week. Fantastic that he's riding super well in Florida, along with Christophe Clement doing the training. Bringing up our picks right now, it's the old 2v2, ladies and gentlemen. 2 of us going with the number 5, Beautiful Love. 2 of us going with the number 3, Chop Chop. We mentioned it's getting a little bit narrow in here. The 2 top choices are part of our 2v2 here. However, again, this race can be wide open, but I think a lot of us, as you can see on the screen, think it's one or the other. I'll let the other team go first, Charlie, then we'll talk about ourselves. Patrick, I'll let you talk first. No, obviously, feel free to add anything else. But these Chop Chop has been running very well. And I think this trainer switch is very, very interesting, as we mentioned about a horse before, too.
Yeah, this must have been a nice private purchase for Rapoli and over to Pletcher here. But listen, I think Chop Chop really likes this distance in here. Always runs right in the mix. That last effort at Keeneland, ran a fractions weren't that quick, considering obviously was, that 1.5 miles, which tends to be a little bit slower early on. But I just think in here, will be a little forwardly placed on this Gulfstream turf. Has never run here. But that doesn't scare me considering the way this horse has been working. And does get Irad in here for the first time. So, listen, I think this horse at 7-2 with the new connections, this horse should be sitting in a good spot, Noah.
Yeah, I like her for all the similar reasons. The private purchase is certainly interesting. You mentioned the Keeneland race, the Dowager. I thought that was a pretty decent field that day. Had a couple next out winners, including there was a horse I did want to talk about. Mrs. Astor actually ran at Del Mar in San Diego and won. Duvet Day came back and won. So that was a pretty good rendition of the Dowager that day. I thought she ran just fine to get the victory. And, there was a little bit of concern going into that race, whether she was kind of able to get the job done on the win end. But look at some of these numbers. I mean, there was a 4-race stretch where she was between 95 and 97. And if she runs back to that, I think she's certainly going to be good enough to get the job done.
I mean, she's very talented. I thought those 2 races last year, actually the 4 races last year that she ran, starting with I thought that Bewitch at Keeneland was super, super good. Even though she got a really nice trip, she did it so well. Atomic Blonde came back to actually beat her next time out at Churchill, going 1.5 miles. She loves Keeneland, and I think that's definitely one thing that I noticed when looking at these PPs. However, never won at Gulfstream Park. Ever since Brad Cox made the change to put her on the turf, because obviously Chop Chop was on the Oaks Trail in 2023, then changed to the synthetic a little bit at Turfway over the winter, and I'm sure that's what led Brad to try her on the turf, and man, did she take to it. 8 for 9 in the money on turf, and at this 1.5 mile distance, she's 2 for 4. Never been out of the money. Mark Bogas says Rapoli paid $900K for Chop Chop, so definitely a very heavy private purchase. She's easily one of the horses to beat in this race, and I definitely would have to use her. However, I went with the number 5, and so did Charlie Beautiful Love. And I think the biggest thing about it, Charlie, she's never gone 1.5 miles, but these last 3 races that she's run have been, I thought, very, very good. And William Buick is here. I think that speaks for itself on Charlie's intent today. Look, 5-2, I don't think you're going to get in this race. You never get Charlie Appleby and William Buick at 5-2. If you do, that might be irresponsible wager of the week. But look, not too much to talk about Beautiful Love. That last race, I'll show that race at the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf, and feel free to talk about what you liked about her.
Yeah, well, obviously, you got to get excited about the connections. Godolphin owned and obviously getting Charles Appleby as the trainer. But this is also, I mean, which I'm sure you saw as well as you're showing the replay, it's a big drop in class, certainly. To be fair, I don't think obviously it's anything about what the horse did wrong. You can't get any higher than what this horse was in last time. But also, an angle I always talk about with these horses coming over, I don't care how good the connections are. I always say that their first race in the U.S. I tend to toss, and if it ends up being a really incredible effort, then I'm just like, it's even more of a monster. I tend to think these Euros need a race or two in the U.S., and you can see the progression. I mean, starting at a 79 and then working up to a high 89 to then a near 100 buyer. Obviously, again, I know we're going to have to see if the horse can take the distance, but I trust Appleby that if he thinks the horse can, and again, like you pointed out, Buick coming over seems to indicate they think the horse has a real shot in this race. And I just think as a horse who's continuing to get better in the U.S., and also these are just a lot of horses that have kind of raced against each other, and we've already seen what they are and really know what effort they can bring. I just think Beautiful Love can potentially take another step forward, and she could reach efforts that no one else in this field can.
And I know I completely respect you for throwing this horse out. I'm assuming because it's the perfect, she's had perfect trips before. It's not been able to get it done, especially, I mean, look, that last race I thought was actually still very good. Cinderella's Dream. And I know it's no, it's no shocker that Buick is very good with Appleby in the US. But I mean, if you just use today's jockey in the States, he's 36%. You go to graded stakes, 41%. I mean, again, it's no shocker, guys. I mean, everyone knows Appleby, but these numbers are just ridiculous. I mean, it's unheard of. It's just ridiculous. 41% in the last 5 years with William Buick aboard in this race. I mean, in any race for that matter. And obviously he's got bigger fish to fry later in the card. So maybe this isn't exactly why Buick is here. However, you have to take into account that Buick is riding this horse and that really should get a really nice trip. He's going to be pretty much next to Chop Chop somewhere in the middle of the pack. And if he gets that type of trip on a track that should favor that type of trip, I don't see why he can't win. I am very, very worried, though, of course, about the value in this race, Noah, which, again, a ton of things that you could probably pick at here. But would you ultimately land on to throw this horse out of the money?
Yeah, I don't know. I had mixed feelings with her. If you go two back in the Wyatt Aqueduct, she was really a very non-threatening third to La Mahana that day. And to be honest, I don't really love La Mahana in the spot either. So, am I really going to throw her in over one race where, she ran a 98, but was that really the greatest rendition of the Filly Mare Turf? I mean, it was definitely nothing compared to what it was last year at Santa Anita. But I don't know. It's not that I don't trust the number. It's just, I just don't really know if she's all that good. And some of these Dolphin types with Buick and Appleby have a little more of kind of a late kick. They're a little more push button. She's just a little too grindy. And I don't know. Like you said, people are just going to kind of bet Appleby blindly. And I think there's other ways to go. So that's ultimately kind of why I've got her out of the top three.
No, and I think that's really fair, honestly. I do like, though, that was her 3-year-old year that she was going against, that type of competition. Always, facing older her last two races. Obviously, she's facing older here again, but she's had time to mature over in Britain after that last start in the Filly Mare Turf. Obviously, this is handpicked by Appleby in this race to figure out where he wanted to go next with her. I think this is just a really good spot, and I really just don't think there's that, that many big hitters in this race by any means. So, Charlie, I mean, you could feel free to add anything you want on this horse, and then feel free to go into the number 10, Forever After All, who's the last horse we'll talk about in this spot.
Yeah,
Actually, we'll talk about Le Mahana as well. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was saying, I think we hit it on, honestly, everything that I would have wanted to say. I feel like we covered it. I'll briefly touch on why I don't have La Mahana in my top three and then move on to the 10. I really don't think the horse has done anything wrong. It's just, for me, visually, when I watch, there just hasn't been that big convincing effort that sells me enough that, she actually can win a race of this magnitude. I kind of felt like, and I'll move into Forever After All because that's part of my reason, is when I just watched that race, it just seemed like Forever After All just waited a little too long to try to go. And I don't think Tyler did anything wrong. I just think the reality is he thought he could get there in time and just mistimed it a little bit, and it was enough for
Yeah.
La Mejana to hang on. I just think also with the price that you're going to get, it's a horse for me I'd like to try to beat. Forever After All, who I have in second, really hasn't done anything wrong, but also really just hates winning. I mean, it's incredible that this horse has run 21 times and has finished second 10 times. So that's why I put the horse in second, quite bluntly. I just think that's what this horse likes to do. Second by a nose, second by a link, second by a neck. And I don't think when I watched those replays, it was really the jockeys having any sort of malpractice. It's really just this horse doesn't like to win, just likes to run in the money. So if you're looking for a horse that, you can use underneath at a decent price, I think this horse makes sense. I'd still use defensively, but yeah, that's how I landed on her.
She's very grindy, right? I mean, she goes up to the side of the horse and doesn't really, like you said, doesn't push past nearly as much as she should have.
Just get by,
yeah. And so I completely agree with you. I just think she's very good. That last race, Charlie, she almost did win for that matter. I thought she was going to, and then just didn't get there in time. La Mejana is kind of that horse where I mean, same thing with Forever After All, really. You kind of know what she is. She's turning 6 now. Don't know if she has any room for improvement. That's kind of why I like the Appleby horse more, even though it's going to get absolutely pounded more than La Mejana. Just a 4-year-old now, handpicked by Appleby. I just think she's in a really good spot to win this race, guys. We'll keep it moving. I'm going 5-3-10. Charlie's going 5-10-3. Pat's going 3-4-5. Noah's going 3-10-4 in the middle leg, which is, of course, the La Previante Stakes, going a mile and a half, and race number 7 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, guys. Let's move into race number 8. It's the Fred Hooper Stakes, going a mile, 1-turn mile on the dirt, and it's the smallest field we'll talk about today, guys, the field of 9. And it's a pretty good field of 9, too. A lot of Gulfstream-based horses in here as well. Morning line favorites, number 5, the always game, Tumbarumba for Gaff Leone and Brian Lynch at 2-1. Second choice, the Boss Man singing Rocket Can for Junior Alvarado and Bill Mott at 5-2. Third choice is the up-and-comer Upstanding for Luis Saez and Todd Pletcher off a really nice maiden win at 5-1. Guys, showing our picks right now. 3 of us are going with Rocket Can, but Noah, I completely understand why. I can never put this horse on top. I almost did here. What'd you like most about the number 5 Tumbarumba?
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat as you, Kyle, because I've never really been a huge fan of this horse. I know Charlie wasn't a huge fan of him when he broke his heart last year in this race, when his buddy Castle Chaos can end up getting the job done. But this is just a miler through and through. Ran a very respectable 4th in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. And Harlan's Holiday, I think a mile and 16th is just a touch too far for him. Definitely caught up to him in the lane as Rocket Can, who can certainly win. Kind of just caught up to him. Cuts back to a mile. Is working tremendously coming out of that race. Tyler Hopp's back on. Interestingly enough, I don't know what to make of the blinkers off just because he's had it on for so long.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm not going to look into that too much and deter me from picking him just because he loves it here at Gulfstream so much. But if he's able to kind of sit second, just off the speed, I think I like my chances quite a bit.
Yeah, and the one's going to go from the inside. The number 1, Little Vic, is nowhere else to go but to go for Juan Avila and Leonel Reyes, Florida-based connections. But yeah, look, he's very, very good, very game, always gives his best shot. Just, again, not a horse that likes to win necessarily, but one that – and I thought the same thing, though. I didn't know what to think about. Maybe they're just trying to relax him on the lead, maybe just not try and engage too much. There's a lot of things that are, can be deciphered from that blinkers off, but it's definitely an interesting move, and Tumbarumba is an absolute must use even. And talk about a great story, guys. I mean, this horse was sold for $30K. Oscar Performance and is running lights out I think it's by far Oscar Performance's best dirt horse, unless I'm forgetting someone absolutely major. But great story, and obviously a really nice horse. Patrick, I'll let you talk quick. Charlie, add on anything. Rocket Can, that last time showed exactly why. 10-1, ran super well, and maybe he's just a Gulfstream runner.
Yeah, maybe he's just a Gulfstream runner, but I want this horse to put up back-to-back good races. I mean,
yes.
This horse is, you get a good race and then a dud. You get a good race and then a dud. This horse, I think Bill Mott, I'm hoping, has kind of found, where what this horse wants to do, where it wants to go. But that last race, I was very impressed with, and I'm hoping this horse can get on a consistent path at 5 years old, because obviously, just like I said before, was inconsistent here, and should sit a nice stalking trip going that one turn at Gulfstream.
Yeah, and he obviously ran very well at a mile and 16th. The one turn mile, it's never really hurt him too much. I mean,
No.
you can go back, and there's a ton of races you can go back to. I think he runs well at a mile. That Cherokee just is always a complete throwout for me, especially last time. I didn't like him on top, but I did like him last time in the Harlan's Holiday. Thought he had a good chance there. Obviously showed it, and he's 3 for 3 at Gulfstream, Charlie. Again, maybe just a Gulfstream runner, maybe just loves the track, but obviously Bill Mott's trying to find the best races for this horse to be in, and obviously this is a pretty good spot for him.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's really been said. I don't think there's much to add. I think this is a really tough field to trust. I think it's a lot of horses that are very unknown and haven't really shown to like to win. But I think Rocket Can, out of anybody in this field, for me, has just shown the most flashes. This was obviously a horse that had big expectations, that was on the Derby trail, and really for a while looked like a serious horse to watch out for in all big races. Then obviously didn't work out in the Derby, went on the optional claiming trail for a while and kept getting bet and just couldn't get it done. But at least ran some decent efforts, and finally goes back to Gulfstream after haven't seen this horse at Gulfstream since the Derby trail days when Boss loved this horse, and just shows up out of nowhere and goes back to the form that we had seen back then. So I just think 3 for 3 in the money, has never finished worse than second here, likes it. And I just think in a race where you're struggling to find horses to trust, I'm going to pick one, who Junior rode perfectly last time and likes the course and distance.
Not to mention that the pace scenario should set up perfectly for him again. You have Tumbarumba and, like I said, Little Vic to the inside. He should be sitting mid-pack. He is a little bit, slow to get going, but I think just with the pace in front of him, he could be good. I think it's it's either the 3 or the 5. I really can't see anyone else in this race. Maybe, Upstanding is the one. I know you have Bourbon Resolve, which I do like underneath, Charlie, to round out exactas and trifectas, especially after that last race where he showed it. Upstanding is just, what do you make of this horse? Obviously Rapoli, Saez hops aboard, Irad hops off, which maybe could be a tell, although he hopped on Cape Trafalgar, which is a horse I've really never liked, and maybe bite me in the ass. I would need to see it at least. Last time out at Gulfstream Park, absolutely blitzed him. Was never even close. Was gone by 3 at the half-mile pole, and I don't think anyone caught up a step on him in the last half mile of the entire 1 mile race. Again, this is a horse that I feel like you have to include defensively. It's just so weird, and Boss just said it. Why is Irad off this horse? It's so weird to me, this horse in this spot. Maybe he'll just freak again, but there looks to be other speed in here. Maybe he doesn't need the lead because he had that race at Aqueduct on the 1 mile. He actually did rate pretty well and just got passed by Masmak, who actually came back to win next race out. Just a horse that I just don't know what to do with, really. Go ahead, Noah. What's up?
Yeah, I think some people might not have noticed this, but you see 2 back, he ran the second at 3 to 5, but then they gelded him actually on November 21st, and the win with a 97. Maybe he's just a completely different horse, and the fact that Rapoli and St. Elias throw him in this race, only 3 or 4 weeks later, I think is probably a telltale sign. But again, you get the weird vibe with Irad hopping off, so. In a weird way, he's kind of the key to the race because it seems like he could probably press Little Vic and then maybe set it up for others. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I completely agree with you. Obviously, Tumbarumba is going to be there, but you also know Tumbarumba does not need the lead necessarily, although likes to be very near. Move on to race number 9, guys. Last race we'll talk about for the sequence, and it's another doozy. Going 3-5-7 for me in race number 8. Charlie going 3-5-8. Patrick going 3-7-5. Noah going 5-3-7. Guys, let's move on to race number 9. The William L. McKnight Stakes, grade 3, going 1.5 miles for the boys on the turf. And guys, we'll have to go quickly through it. So our apologies. We've had to talk about those first 2 races were ridiculous. Morning line favorite 2-1, Appleby Buick Bold Act, which I actually found it really interesting. Noah, this is a horse that you and I have gone back and forth with many times over the course of his USA career. This is the first time Buick's ever on him, which I think is very interesting. In this race, limited liability, Shug McGahee, Frankie Dettori, 3-1 off of a massive win at Kentucky Downs, 2 back, I believe, and cash equity, Irad, Safi Joseph at 6-1 is your third choice, guys. Switching over the picks right now, you could see it's a 2v2, boys, and Noah, look at us. Who would have thought?
Finally are on the train.
Not me. Who would have thought? Not me. Both going with Bold Act. Charlie and Patrick are both going with limited liability. Charlie, I'll let you go first. Give Flu Man a break up there with his voice. Obviously, feel free to add anything you guys want. And then we'll talk about a couple, and then we'll move on to our picks for the Pegasus World Cup races. But number one, limited liability, like I said, absolutely freaked in Kentucky Downs. 2 back. Didn't run very bad last time against a horse, obviously very good in integration, who we will see later in the Pegasus World Cup card. But look, he has been running very, very well and gets exactly the distance he wants, and probably a very nice trip from the rail.
Yeah, and has just been in terrific form, for a very long time after the race in the slop where this horse just not want dirt. And I just think it's also super impressive that this is a horse, even at 6 years old now, that at plenty of different stages of his career has taken big layoffs and then has come back and just acted like nothing ever happened and has just continued good form. Had, a reasonable work, obviously 50 flat at Payson is nothing to jump out about, but also I wouldn't say anything to be concerned about. And I just think this is a race where you have to try to beat the favorite. I mean, Bold Act is the complete definition of a money burner. This horse gets hammered just about every time. Obviously, won a race in 2023, but hasn't won a race in America since. Will get bet down again. I understand it's Appleby. I understand we just talked about praising those connections earlier. And of course, in a race like this, horizontally, you'd have to include Bold Act. But there's just no way I could ever pick that horse on top vertically. I understand 3-1 is not the most creative alternative, but I'm also looking for a horse where if I'm going to try to beat this favorite, I want to be realistic. I think limited liability, like you said, likes the distance, has the figures, ran against Integration, who I think would be incredibly difficult to beat in this spot, and I just think makes a ton of sense.
I mean, Pat, obviously you agree. Anything you want to add on limited liability?
Yeah, I do think the Red Smith at Aqueduct back in November, you could make the case that limited liability ran the better race than Integration, I thought. So I just think, like Charlie said, the form is there. And, this will lead me into Bold Act, obviously the one to beat. But the race patterns, it's just a bit weird. And I think there's questions there. So that's why I'm going to try and beat Bold Act. But, I'll let you guys do your pitch as to why Bold Act will win the William M. McKnight. McKnight.
William L. McKnight. There you go. Noah, welcome to the dark side, my friend. It's a little more fun over here. I thought he ran effing huge last time.
God,
Just didn't get the bob on the wire. Highway Robber was a Brian Lynch horse that ran super well and was the favorite that day. Look, a little bit off since then. I think this is another spot that Appleby has picked directly for this horse. Again, hard to trust on the win end. I get it. Will be favorited again, just based off connections. But I just thought that last race really showed the horse that this is. And now coming into his 5-year-old year, I think he might even be able to get a little bit better.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that was kind of my main thing. I thought he ran absolutely huge last time in the Sycamore, just lost to a Highway Robber, but, had a nightmare trip, broke slow, was wide on multiple turns. And then, it at not the top of the stretch, but, about halfway through, Highway Robber just kind of came up to Bold Act and it looked like Bold Act was done. But, he dug in and fought hard, and they were 4 clear of the rest and clear of Utah Beach, who is in this race. But I'm glad that you actually mentioned that, Kyle, because I didn't realize that. This is, although Buick's been on him before over in France and Europe, this is the first time that he's actually been on him in the States, which I think now I like him more. So I'm glad that you like that. And I don't know what kind of price you're going to get. And frankly, I'm not very good at these races, but if it's not 111, I would probably be pretty surprised.
Yeah, and obviously, it's going to hurt the price, but people could see the exact same thing that Patrick and Charlie are seeing, is that this horse is just hard to trust on the win end, and maybe you'll get somewhere around 2-1 or something around those lines. And may not be, you could argue it's not good enough on the win end value wise, because there's still other horses in here that are pretty good, just maybe not to the echelon that both limited liability and Bold Act are. So again, no hate. Like I said, there's no hate at all. I completely understand both the 1 and the 11. No matter who you like, could definitely make for both. Utah Beach, and Chuck Brower I just showed on the screen, likes Utah Beach. Definitely one for at least underneath for me. It's very hard to trust this horse on the win end. He's never really shown that type of, again, that upper echelon that Bold Act and limited liability have both showed. Off the cutback, you can definitely say I definitely prefer to cutbacks on dirt rather than turf more. However, again, ran super well in the H. Allen Jerkins, just got beat by Lord Eddard Stark, and that was after a big scratch of the Gray Wizard, as we covered that race on this show. Again, just maybe not the upper echelon horse, although he is going into his 5-year-old year. Can improve, although would need a pretty big improvement, at least in my opinion, I think would need in this race. Last horse I want to talk about very quick is Anglophile for Brian Lynch Castellano. Again, maybe a horse that's not, again, that upper echelon, although has shown it in the Mr. Diamond Stakes at Gulfstream last year. Got that 97, was flying late, just didn't get there. Again, starting over in Tawnyport, 2 very nice longer distance turf horses in the U.S. One definitely for Exactas trifectas at a decent price of, somewhere high singles, low double digits. Definitely one to round out Exactas and trifectas, just given the trip. But guys, we have a special guest, of course. We have big show, big guest. And of course, it's no other person I'd want to be on Bettin N Boozin. It's the man himself, the boss, Howard Kravitz from Picks and Ponies. Howard, how are you doing, my friend?
I have a question. Is Rocket Can running Saturday?
Oh, no.
No, forget it. All right. No, don't worry about it. No singing. I'm on just for 2 minutes here. Can't wait for our show coming up very soon at 8:30 Eastern. But very quickly, I just want to publicly congratulate Charlie Friedman for a perfect bracket in our pool that we had for our hosts and co-hosts. And congratulations to Ohio State. He was unbelievable in the bracket. It's not easy to get a perfect bracket. So I just want to congratulate him. And also congratulate our fans who finished first, second, third in our free fan bracket. If you subscribe to our Power Pick tip sheet, that was a lot of fun. Our winner had a perfect bracket except for he had Georgia over Notre Dame in the semifinals, but everything else he had correct, including OSU winning. And by the way, Charlie, and I sent this out, the winner of our fan bracket also not only graduated from OSU, but was born in the Ohio State University Hospital. How about that?
That's
so
pretty good.
Pretty cool. Yeah, unbelievable. The other thing, just really quick, we've got a huge show Saturday, live show. It's 4 to 6 Eastern. It's going to cover the last 3 races of Pegasus Day and the Southwest Stakes at Oaklawn, which is a really good race, Patch Adams, etc. We're going to have all 4 of those races live. We're going to be discussing them, giving picks. So please watch us this Saturday, late afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Noah Maher, Jackson Muniz, and Matt Miller, the 4 of us, and maybe some other people on the screen. Who knows? But anyway, we'll be doing most of the discussing live shows Saturday. You guys are kicking butt. Great job. Keep it up. We'll see everyone soon.
Thanks a lot, Howard. Appreciate it.
See you.
And congratulations. Oh, he beat me to it, but I beat him to it, but he clicked on the end there. No, congratulations, guys. Yeah, and Charlie, obviously perfect bracket. Although you're not eligible to win 2 pools. Yeah, congratulations to that. Especially, I forgot his name. I had his name. But yeah, he was fantastic picking and just won a free $200. So if you didn't join, you're not subscribed to the Power Picks, missing out on free money, everybody. So go down to the description, patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast, because not only will you get fantastic information every single Saturday, but also you will get opportunities like that. Gentlemen, real quick, we're going to do a roundtable for our Pegasus World Cup picks, go into best bets, and then talk a little bit of NFL and then end the show. The Pegasus World Cup Filly Mare Turf is actually race number 10. It is the race after the William L. McKnight we just talked about. Again, no analysis. I just want a quick roundtable, just like ESPN, talking about your picks. And Pat, I will start with you first. Who do you like in the Pegasus World Cup Filly Mare Turf?
White Abario.
Filly Mare Turf, Chief. He ain't running there.
Hey, listen to directions.
I did not listen to directions. You got to come back to me.
All right, Charlie, go for it, man. White Abario in the Filly Mare Turf. You hit her first.
Oh,
that would be impressive.
That's
I was,
be a good blooper.
I was gonna go White Abario until I found out he wasn't in it, and then that kind of changed everying.
You told us the Pegasus World Cup there, pal.
I told you Pegasus World Cup races is what I told you.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Charlie, do you have it ready or no?
Yes,
yes,
I've got it ready. I'm going with the number 7. I don't know. I'm gonna butcher this.
Yes, that's right.
Can you say it? Manushka. I'm going with Manushka. I want a fresh face in this race. It's a very tough field. I know it's got some of people's favorites on the show, like Pounds for me and Fluffy
great.
Socks for Noah. But yeah, I thought that effort 2-back was monster, and I think third time in the U.S. now this one could get it done at a price.
Yeah. Hey, look, Charlie, funny enough, I have the horse in second, so I'm glad that you like him as well, or her. Excuse me. I'll take a drink for that. I kind of messed up there. Noah.
Seems like Charlie also didn't listen to directions because you said not to give analysis.
That's correct, but it's fine.
I will go with the 8 Papilio. 8 to 1.
Papilio. It's a Paul Halloran special right there. I love Rakia. Absolutely love Rakia in that race, and that will be the irresponsible wager of the week if that horse is anywhere near 4-1 on the inside. Absolutely love Rakia, and loved her last time. Love her this time. Hopefully, he can do it after the Breeders' Cup. Pat, do you have something for me?
Sacred Wish.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And we followed directions, so that's a double W right there. The Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational. Charlie, starting with you.
Oh no! Don't let me go first. Let Pat go first this time. Give him redemption.
Oh my God, Pat, go ahead.
Sterling Silver,
which is interesting.
Should be. What was the horse on the morning line?
Wait,
12-1, I think. The 3.
That's the inside information stakes, Patrick. Come on, man. Race number 12, the Pegasus World Cup.
I tried to give him redemption.
What are we doing, brother?
I tried to set him up for redemption.
It's the flu. So we're over 2.
Integration.
Integration. Thank you very much. Sorry, flu man. I apologize. I know you're a little bit scrambled brain right now. All right. Integration.
Information when I'm giving out picks. I don't need on the spot.
My apologies.
I respect it, Pat.
Charlie, go ahead.
Major Dude.
Oh, yeah. Last time, Major Dude winner for both Charlie and I. Hopefully, he can do it again for Chuckles himself. Noah.
This deaf schmuck ahead of me or on top of me just took my pick. I was going to go Integration.
I am also going Integration. Just think he's a little bit too tough in this spot. Although you said Nation's Pride. I'll tell you what, guys. If Spirit of St. Louis is anywhere near 20-1, that could be the old reverse tri-key right there.
Yeah, that's
for me, at least in my opinion. Guys, last race. It is the big one. Pegasus World Cup. Pegasus World Cup. $3 million. Mile and 1/8. Noah.
I was gonna say I know Pat's pick.
Yeah,
I go to the first race on the day at 11 o'clock and pick a horse in that race.
I'll go Saudi Crown. W2W.
I like
That's
that.
Very reasonable.
Patrick. He's dead. No way. We give him a chance to redeem himself, and he's dead. Oh no, that's so
It's
terrible.
an unbelievable performance from Patrick.
We're really over 3, and I'm gonna take that off the screen because that's honestly just unlucky. There it is. All right, we're back. We're back.
You guys hear me?
Yep, you're good now. That was a good freeze, though. I'll tell you that much.
White Abario.
That's what I thought. Charlie,
Jeez,
go ahead.
I somehow just knew he was going White Abario, almost like I got.
I don't know how, but I did too.
I'm gonna go with Locked. Don't make it complicated. Maybe one of the most likely winners of the day.
I don't disagree with you there. Obviously, he's very talented. Last race in Cigar Mile was very good. Noah, you and I are either have a really good day or a really bad day. This way, bang.
Show's going off the rails.
Saudi Crown, we're going off the rails.
I
really
thought Noah
think
was
Saudi
going
Crown
mixed,
could
though.
take them wire to wire. Yeah, Mixto, my favorite pit, the 30-1 pick that runs 4th every time, except the time that I don't bet him in the Pacific Classic. I really think Saudi Crown could take them wire to wire. I was completely wrong on him last time. That was the race I actually picked Kinetic as my best bet of the entire day. Ran well, just couldn't catch up to Saudi Crown. Really think he could be tough in there. So I am going Saudi Crown, although Locked, it's a must use. Absolutely could win. It could be, and really has shown he's the goods. Could be very good. Guys, best bets for the entire day for us. Patrick, redeem yourself, my friend. Race 5, tri-key with the number 2. Yes, I Am Free, the horse you talked about that could get out to the lead and maybe hang on for a slice. And race number 8, a win on the number 3, Rocket Cam.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can get a wire-to-wire with Yes, I Am Free in that turf sprint to start the day with a nice tri-key. Hopefully, might be able to catch some prices in that spot. You know, those turf sprints always get a little crazy. And then Rocket Can. Let's see if we could stack some wins together with that horse. And, kind of get the the later part of the card started with a nice win in race 8. So yeah, that's a fun day of racing. It should be a fun afternoon. I hope everybody tunes into the show because I'm sure it'll be fantastic. But eager to hear what you guys got.
And next year next show we're gonna sing Rocket Man if Rocket Can wins, right, Pat?
Well, we sure are.
That's what I love to hear. Charlie, you're going next, my friend. You already talked about it. And since Charlie is the overachieving man himself, gives analysis when I don't want it, he's going to give 3 best bets because he is just that guy. Win on the number 7, Minushka, the horse we talked about in the Pegasus World Cup Filly Mare Turf. Win on the number 6, Major Dude, who we talked about in race number 13, going in exacta 11 over 4/6. King locked on top.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to do 2 best bets in a long shot of the day, so I went above and beyond. So Minushka is going to be my long shot best bet of the day. I think that race is open. I do hear, what you're saying with the 1 Kyle, and I don't think you're wrong. That horse could wire him, but I'm going to take a chance on a price that I think could take a step forward. Major Dude, I'm backing again. I just don't trust either of the 2 main favorites. I know this horse will take money, and it's funny because I talked about the horse last time with Howard saying the horse was sitting on a big effort, and I still don't think we saw it because IRAD did a great job, but the horse got trapped in traffic and wasn't able to really unleash that killer kick that I think Major Dude is developing. And then last race, like I said, I think Locked is an incredible talent. It was actually way back when a horse in the power picks for the Breeders' Cup and the Juvenile that I wrote about would have been my Derby pick had things not gone, to shit. Then putting it over White Abario, who, screwed me last time, but, didn't really do anything wrong, just had a horrible break, and I think can still run well and loves it here. And then Stronghold is my other horse, who I just think is also ultra consistent and could work out a nice trip. I
completely agree with you, Charlie, on that. I think Stronghold could run a very, very big race in the Pegasus World Cup. It's just a matter of I don't know if he's good enough as Saudi Crown or Locked, but I do like that. Good luck with your best bets. Noah, to you, my friend. Winone Hudson, right back to the well, as I've joked about before. And race number 8, a double 5 into 11. That's the Fred Hooper Stakes, singling the number 5, Tumbarumba, into the number 7 or number 11 Bold Act in the William L. McKnight.
Yeah, they're nothing super creative. I'll start with the second one, the double, just because those are some of my more stronger opinions on the day. So I would definitely hammer that double for a good amount. And then in terms of the other races, I feel like some of my stronger opinions are against some of the shorter prices, like Jerry the Nipper, Beautiful Love. I don't love all that much. So I know I've got a win bet on None Hudson, and I'm glad that Boss likes him too, because it's a tough race. But I'll be playing a win bet in some regard. So those are my 2 best bets.
No, absolutely. Like I said, if you can beat favorites, we all know you can make some money. And if None Hudson comes in, and I'm telling you what, one thing, I'm going to be upset. I will be upset if that horse wins. Obviously, good luck to you. And that double could easily come in if Tumbarumba can put it together on the win end. I went with 2 separate races. Obviously, compare best bets however which way you want. Race number 7 is I'm singling the number 5, Beautiful Love. I understand the concerns. Just feel like if Buick's over, the horse has gotten better every single time. Really showed that the distance is not an issue. Gets an extra furlong, I think could be very, very good. And I talked about in the Hooper, it's 1 of 2 for me. It's Rocket Can or Tumbarumba in that race. Play a big double there, 1x2 spot. That's the old contest play, which maybe you can even include another horse in the La Preveance. But going there, and I talked about how much I love Rakia in that spot. Going to play her for sure into the Insight Info, which the number 9 is the only race we really didn't talk about on Pegasus World Cup day in terms of stakes races. The number 9 is one of my favorite horses, Emery, in training, and I think she could set a really nice spot in the Inside Information Stakes. Guys, really appreciate everybody talking. We're going to talk 2 minutes on NFL, and we'll go to bed. Look at Grandpa laughing in the bottom corner there. But we cannot talk too much because, again, Howard's show, Picks and Ponies, starts in 10 minutes. Charlie, like I said, I gave you a winner circle at the start of the show. Let's talk quickly NFL. We would be remiss when we're talking best bets if we don't talk about NFL Championship Sunday.
Yeah, depressed that I'm down to 1 team of my futures, but I'm going to trust them here. I saw some love in the chat earlier for the Bills, and I agree. I thought Bills-Ravens was the 2 best teams in the NFL, battle in and out, and now they're still alive. I trust that they can overcome Mahomes and the refs and win in Kansas City. Eagles-Commanders, honestly, it's a division game, so I think it can be closer than people think. I'm going to go with the Eagles, though, and then I think the Bills beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
I really don't think so. It's just you got to get over the freaking devil magic that is the Chiefs. It seems like
their
this year.
voodoo
It seems
dark
like
magic.
seems like no matter what happens, they end up winning games. I mean, and they actually looked really good in their playoff game this past weekend. However, the Bills, people were saying whoever wins that game talks about wins the Super Bowl in a way. Bills or Ravens. The Bills played very, very well against the Ravens. It was an all-out brawl. And then obviously you have Commanders and Eagles. I feel like that game can come down to the wire too. Again, all us Bears fans get all this crap, but Jane Daniels has been fantastic and was very, very calm, cool, collected last time in the playoffs. I think it's people like you said, Charlie. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. It's just going to come down to if the Commanders can stop Saquon Barkley from getting 80,000 yards on Sunday. And it's very possible they can, although, again, it's very, very tough. And if they can stop 2 Saquon Barkley 70-yard touchdowns, I think it could be very, very close. And hopefully, for my parlay's sake, Terry McLaurin can catch one more damn pass than he did this last weekend. And that way I'll get $450 instead of the last week. I just think it's going to be very, very good. This week is a lot of good action. And obviously, if you guys don't follow us on X, please follow us on X. It's in our name tags right now. Noah is just at Noah Ma, I guess is how you would say it. I don't know. MEAG. It's the first 4 letters of his last name. Noah Ma. That's what I'm saying from now on. Although that doesn't exactly do well for the E, A, or the G. But guys, thank you guys all so much. We've had fantastic viewership all day, all night long. And again, stay on the HHH Racing Podcast, as they will start here in a mere 10 minutes talking about all the late pick 4 and the all Pegasus World Cup day stakes with Pete Aiello. Again, in my humble opinion, the best announcer here in the US. But again, chat's been fantastic, so I can't thank you guys enough. And Noah, again, you don't have to. I know you weren't on yesterday, but thanks again for joining us. You're always welcome back, as you know. Thank you guys all for joining episode 116 of Bettin N Boozin here in the HHH Racing Podcast, talking Pegasus Undercard Stakes. And until next time, everybody, crush those bets, win those photos, and stay safe, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.